over 50 kids from Kyle's class of 2022.
Spring break!
So let's back up and let me explain how we got from snow and 14 degrees in Iowa to the sandy beaches of the Dominican Republic. Well, one of the kids convinced their parents to take them to the Dominican Republic for spring break, and then another, and by the time we got done, there were over 50 kids going. We had driven up to Minneapolis the night before because we had a really early morning flight. I think about half the flight was DCG kids. There were also families from Waukee and Johnston going to other resorts in the Dominican. So the whole plane was full of high school kids and their families heading off to spring break. When we got to the resort, Kyle and I hung out while Dana checked us in. We booked a junior seafront suite on the premium level. I'm not sure what this got us, but I think the room was a little bit bigger. The rooms were nice, but maybe a little bit dated. But that's okay, because we weren't here to stay in the room anyway. We were here to lounge under the palm trees on the white sandy beaches and hang out by the pool with our friends, both of which were just steps outside our door. One of the first things Dana did when we got there was head over to the concierge office to try to fix the dinner reservations we made before leaving. Almost every single one of them was wrong. Brooklyn and her family had gotten there the day before us, so now with all the dinner reservations corrected, we went out to dinner with them the first night. Kyle and I both tried steak tartare. We both agreed that was probably the last time we'd be trying it. For the most part, the foods were good, but I think everybody enjoyed the desserts the most, especially the cheesecake. Of course, this would be the year the boys make it to the state championship game in basketball, so we all gathered around laptops to watch the boys win the title. Even though we'd eaten supper with Brooklyn and her family earlier that night, Dana and I decided to finish off the first day in the Dominican with some complimentary room service. Since I was the first one up, I decided to take some time and go explore the resort a little bit before everybody else woke up. The adult pool was just steps outside our door. However, here you only had to be 18 to be considered an adult, so it really turned out to be the DCG high school pool. And just beyond the adult pool was the sandy beaches and palm trees. I actually prefer the beach over the pool. When Dana got up, we went to eat and then explored the resort some more. We found the family pool, which actually turned out to be much quieter than the adult pool because it wasn't full of a bunch of high school seniors on spring break. We went to eat at the Mexican restaurant and once again ate with Brooklyn and her family. Kyle and I both got steak, and then everybody got dessert. On day 3, a bunch of the families rented a catamaran. The first stop was a beach where they made coconut drinks for everyone. Everyone thought that was really cool, although I'm not sure anyone really liked the drinks. They asked the boys to pose for this picture, and the girls decided to have a little bit of fun in the background. This trip is turning out to be a lot different than any spring break I ever took in high school, or for that matter, college. I think the parents are having just as much fun as the kids. Next, the catamaran took everyone offshore just a little ways so they could do some snorkeling and swimming. I think everyone had fun, especially on the slide. And of course, Kyle had to show off just a little bit.
That's nice.
The next stop was a floating restaurant for some lunch. And then on the way back to port, Everyone had a little dance party on the bow of the ship. And then after a full day partying in the sun, Kyle needed a little nap before dinner. For dinner, we went to the Santa Fe Steakhouse with Gavin, Kieran, and their families. In my opinion, this was one of the better restaurants at the resort. Then after dinner, we all went to the show. Tonight's show was Night with the Stars. Dan and I joked, the show kind of reminded us of a dance recital.
Hi, camera. That's it. Hi, camera. Hi, camera.
The next day, we spent the morning at the beach. We really didn't do much other than just sit around in lounge chairs and enjoy the view. That afternoon, a bunch of us took the 20-minute walk down to a bunch of little shops right on the beach. All the shop owners tried to convince us they had the best price, and they said most of it was handmade. I'm pretty sure most of it was not handmade, but that's okay, because we all had fun shopping, especially Kyle, who spent 20 minutes haggling over the price of this painting. And since Dana's never met a gift shop she didn't like, she brought home a bag of stuff. When we got back to the room, I went to go outside and the door came apart. This actually happened 2 different times while we were there, and we had to call maintenance both times to fix it. We then headed out to a private rooftop cocktail event for anybody who had booked their trip through Beach Bum Vacations. And since the setting was private and incredible, we took the opportunity to take a lot of pictures.
Don't worry, I did get it.
After the reception, several of us headed back to the steakhouse for dinner again. There were 2 different tables, the kids' table and the adult table. The kids' table was much more well behaved than the adult table was. We then went back to the theater, and the show tonight was a Michael Jackson tribute.
Michael Jackson, baby!
Day 5 started off at the beach again, and then a tram ride around the resort. After the train ride, we went over and got some lunch. There were a lot of good desserts out, but there were also a lot of very strange salads and other things. I wasn't trying any of them. What's the verdict on the octopus salad?
Little rubbery.
Tastes good though?
Yeah.
Get it again?
It's okay to try one.
So no?
Huh? Probably not.
That afternoon, the kids took a big group picture, and Kyle took several individual pictures with his friends. Dana and I were getting our picture taken, and Maya photobombed us, so we just invited her to join us. That night, Dana, Kyle, and I went to dinner by ourselves at the French restaurant. It was actually pretty good. This is where Kyle told us he changed his mind, and he thinks he does want to play baseball in college. Day 6 started with our required COVID test so we could fly home, and then Dana and I went to the miniature golf course and played around. I made my putt, and then I gave Dana a hard time for missing hers. And as you might expect, that was a bad idea. I guess that's what you call karma. And after 18 holes, I won because I had the higher score. That's how golf works, right? We then went back to the room and put our swimsuits on to wander around the resort a little bit more, take some pictures, and we eventually ended up back at the beach. Eventually we headed back to the room, got cleaned up, and went and had dinner with the Fioris at the Japanese restaurant.
One, two, three.
The meal was good and the chef put on a good show. I think everybody had a good time. And of course, we ended the night like we always do, at the theater. Tonight's show was an acrobatic show. On the way back through, and we came across a spider. It was pretty big. It was probably the size of a $50. Day 7 started with one last breakfast at the buffet. And Kyle had to get his picture taken in front of the casino with his winnings. He won about $80 on this trip. And then sadly it was time to pack up and head to the airport. We grabbed a quick lunch at Wendy's and then waited for our plane. I think we were all a little bit worried about how closely they would look at the COVID paperwork. But when the time came, they just took it, didn't even look at it, and let us right on the plane. And with that, our vacation was over and we were on the plane back to Minneapolis and back to the cold weather of the Midwest. And somehow I ended up in the middle seat with Dana and Kyle both asleep next to me. And for day 8, the only thing that's left is for us to drive home, and of course, a mountain load of laundry. Thanks for watching, and come back again as we do it across America.